Hello? Audio. Can it hear us? They're getting us. Okay, so we mute the camera for a second. Now I'm on now. Yeah. Thank you guys. Good evening and welcome to the 34th Caring for the Kenai oral presentations. I love working with these kids because they never get older. Okay. So then I don't get any older. But somebody did show me some photos of some years back, and gee, I was a good-looking guy back then. No mirrors, and I am going to read from a script. This is something I tell all our kids when I work with them not to do, but I do this for your sake, okay? Because if I get impromptu just talking off the top of my head about caring for the Kenai, as Leah and many of you know, I will go on for hours and hours. That's because there have been 34 years of experience here to talk about, and what our kids have done and achieved, and what our school district does to support this program. What, didn't we pay the power bill? Geez, somebody text Juno. Okay, so I am going to read our introductions of our judges with just a little ad lib to begin with, to know that they are not really judges, okay? They're not giving a test score here that can be compared to the test scores in Kentucky or somewhere else. They are looking for the most successful, passionate kid that came up with their idea. We are an idea contest, and yet we have won 7 Presidential Environmental Youth Awards, the only community in the country to have won that multiple times. So that's what tonight is all about. It's about them. And I appreciate every parent and every teacher that's here tonight to cheer your kids on, because it's exciting for them, and it's a time that they will not ever forget. One of our community has a right to be proud of, and one that would never have happened if it wasn't for the oil and gas industry. You know, sometimes I challenge my finalists as they're driving home and thinking about their presentation, and you might want to do this sometime. Okay, we're going to go back to 1964, and oil was never discovered at Swanson River. It's now 2024. Oil was never discovered at Prudhoe Bay. What does our community look like? Just hypothetically, think about it. And because one of my favorite signatures is appreciation. I appreciate these kids, I appreciate their families, and I appreciate this community because of what this community has given to me. So thank you to Marathon Petroleum, who used to be Endeavor, who used to be Tesoro, who, when Chevron left the community and Agrium left the community, they called me. And they said, can we sponsor that program? I said, well, I'll have to think it over. Yes. And since then, they've taken up the lion's share, being our signature sponsor, and every one of their employees out there that always puts safety first and that brings our economy to where it is today. I truly appreciate them. And I'd like to have a big round of applause for everybody out at Marathon Petroleum. Thank you. Okay, now just like the Kenai Refinery, caring for the Kenai Partnership was invented here. It was created here. And to all the employees out there that have the jobs and are raising their families now for a second generation, we really appreciate them. Along with our community partners, when we started putting cash into the classrooms that assign the Caring for the Kenai program, stepped up and wanted to contribute cash dollars for that purpose to help these kids not only think and have ideas, but to then implement their ideas later on. And those are our community partners, which are Kenai River Raven Lodge, Peninsula Community Health Services, Eyewear Express, KSRM Radio Group, Sweeney's Clothing, ConocoPhillips, HEA, and Hillcorp. Let's applaud all of them as well, because they put their money where this program is. Okay, and if it wasn't for their support throughout the years, Anna DeVold, a past CFK winner, wouldn't have been featured in the October issue of People magazine just last year, and was also worldwide seen on the Disney Channel during the entire month of April in 2023. Among our top 12 tonight in our competition are students from schools across the borough, including Cook Inlet Academy, Soldotna High School, Kenai Central High School, Nikiski, and Connections homeschooled students. These school classrooms will all receive a share of the $20,000 that will be awarded, depending on where the kids place tonight, and for STEM education to enhance their classroom and to help them have a better high school experience. Tonight, you are seeing the top 12 ideas selected from last month by all of the ideas that were entered from a broad-based panel of 6 judges who read and scored just the essay portion, and then from there we selected our top 12. I want to thank Josiah Martin, who's back there tonight. He later will be seen on his unicycle, because when I first met Josiah, he was in the Soldotna Days Parade on a unicycle, and then it was a double unicycle, and then he ended at a triple unicycle. But he healed up really well, and he's here tonight with Martin Media, and that's why we're being streamed live. And speaking about being streamed live around the globe, hi. To all you people who are listening, and whether you even maybe don't speak our language, you will speak the language of youth and our future here tonight. Greetings to everyone from Alaska, to wherever you are. We're proud to have you watching here tonight. We've heard from many Facebook friends in South America, the lower 48, and indeed around the world who will be listening tonight. Don't want to scare the kids any more than it is, but we appreciate them tuning in tonight and watching. We're honored to have you with us. And a special shout out to the Casa de Valencia in Colombia and my co-creator, of this program. Sorry about that. Howdy. Glad to have you guys there. Now, all contestants are going to remain anonymous until after the scoring is complete, to eliminate any perception of bias towards schools or individuals. That means that each contestant will simply introduce themselves by an assigned number for scoring purposes, and then after that, everyone, we will present and introduce them to you and their schools according to how the judges do score them. Our esteemed panel of judges for tonight's presentations include the superintendent of schools, who has shepherded this district through a pandemic, bringing back a sense of normalcy. Please, big round of applause for Superintendent Clayton Paul Holland. Welcome. You get to have a seat, and no paper scores tonight, everybody. Did it all by myself. Okay, next is Bruce Jackman, who is the Marathon Petroleum Kenai Refinery Manager. He returns for his third year tonight as a finalist judge. He's born and raised right here in Kenai. Bruce is the first locally born person to ever rise to the manager's position at the Kenai Refinery. That's quite an accomplishment. After high school, he attended the University of Kansas, earning his Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Bruce's entire work career has been in Nikiski. He worked as a crew member on the Barnes SetNet site, soon to be known as a DipNet site. Just threw that in. Through high school, his college years, he was the first professional job. His first professional job was in 1993 as a project engineer at the Unocal Agrium nitrogen fertilizer facility. He then spent 15 years at that facility with roles in engineering, maintenance, turnarounds, and operations. When the fertilizer facility closed in 2008, Bruce took a maintenance supervisor's job out at the Tesoro refinery, and then in 2011, Tesoro promoted Bruce to maintenance manager, and in 2021, Bruce was promoted to the refinery general manager, a friend of this community. Bruce, come on out. I know how to Google Bruce. Bruce and his wife Amanda, they still live in Nikiski. Why they haven't moved to Soldotna, I don't know. But they have 5 children and 2 grandchildren. That's the pride of his life, right, Bruce?
That's correct.
Okay, now tonight our next judge from Homer Electric Association, actually, it was Brad Janorski, who is the director, who was supposed to be here, but he's out of town. And so he assigned Carrie Ann Baker from Homer to be here in his place. And then she called last week, and she's going to be out of town. So tonight, David Thomas is taking the HEA seat, and they've also been a good sponsor of ours. As manager of strategic services at HEA, David looks for ways to diversify HEA's energy sources, including increased renewable energy from wind and solar, coordinating with geothermal and tidal independent power producers, and representing HEA at the Rail Belt Reality Council as director and officer. He is registered as professional civil engineer and spent 30 years remediating contaminated soil and water at toxic waste sites throughout the country. He volunteers with the Kenai Peninsula Borough School District as a coach of competitive math, not soccer or football, with the kids with a thing called math counts. Now, because Kenai Middle School, shadow, counts them finished. They finished first. His team finished first, and he's serving as coach of Alaska's team to national math counts in Washington, D.C. this coming May. And I cut all of his accomplishments in half because this guy has really done a lot. David, please come on out. For the first time, welcome David Thomas as a carried for the Kenai judge. Now, Ben Wright is the CEO of Peninsula Community Health Services. They've been one of our community partners for many years. Ben is returning as a judge this year. And prior to the pandemic, PCHS welcomed Ben as the new CEO of the organization. Mr. Wright hails from Duluth, Minnesota, and has more than 30 years of experience as an administrator for organizations that focus on serving at-risk populations. Mr. Wright innovated programs not only to the PCHS, but also to Central Peninsula as well. Mr. Wright brings to the Kenai Peninsula a well-rounded approach to health issues. Please help me welcome Ben Wright. Now, I really mentally worked on not getting choked up about introducing our next judge. And then I blew it when I said hi to Leonore. That just kind of happens sometimes, especially when you know these kind of people that just get into your heart and soul. A person who's not going to be a judge here tonight, but who took us on like a father, who helped me personally, who was the guest of Senator Ted Stevens here to go fishing on the Kenai River during one of the early Kenai River Classics, who later bought the Kenai River Lodge, Raven Lodge, and was here and was by my side every step we took. I used him as a counselor on how we could make the program better. He was the CEO of 3 different Fortune 500 companies, and he would be here for the judges. He was at our in-service to try and help the teachers use this curriculum, and he unfortunately passed away last year. But Dick and his Kenai River Raven Lodge was one of the greatest CFK supporters and sponsors. And tonight, taking his place is his daughter, Peggy Erkeneff, who you may recognize because she's an author, she's a speaker and retreat leader and life coach who works with individuals and organizations. She hosts events and groups at her now River Raven Sanctuary Lodge on the Kenai River. It used to be right next door to her dad in Soldotna. The former director of communications at KPBSD. And I know, Clayton, you've tried to hire her back tonight, but I think she's committed to what she's doing now, but we really appreciate her. She's worked with teens for over 25 years, delights in a good story and innovative solution seekers, and like her dad, has been a promoter of CFK. We love you, Peggy. We all know what's coming, right? Sockeye salmon and silvers are going to come up the river. And one of the ladies who has been addicted to those fishing experiences, Shannon Martin. She is the executive director for the Kenai River Sportfish Association, again, one of our community partners. She lives in Soldotna with her husband and 3 children. She was born in Soldotna. Her whole life long, she's known the Kenai River. She grew up fishing and exploring the Kenai Peninsula. When she's not out on the Kenai, she enjoys volunteering for other nonprofits and introducing women to fly fishing. Fish on, Shannon. Come on out. Welcome. One of our other judges who's returning this year and has been here before is Tim Dillon. He is the, there's the R word, retired Kenai Peninsula Economic Development District. And Mr. Dillon assumed his position as executive director on August 1st of 2016. He's provided stability and growth during his tenure there at KPED, and his focus on inclusion of the entire diverse borough has brought attention and resources to all areas. During the pandemic, when everybody was trying to get a share of the funds to help sustain our economy during that time, Tim did an outstanding job in bringing more money to our community in this peninsula than I think anywhere else in the state. He's often sought out to assist with small and large new existing businesses to evaluate access and implement efficiencies, funding, and improvements. That's why he makes such a great judge here, because he helps these kids go on and implement their ideas. He also specializes in workforce development and the Alaska fish nutrition. Prior to his appointment, Mr. Dillon spent over 7 years as the city manager of the city of Seldovia. While in Seldovia, he brought over $30 million in federal, state, borough, and private investments to that community. But now that he's retired from KPED, he has started a private company that he's calling Gunsmoke. Please welcome Marshall Dillon. And now our final judge, what totally diversifies this panel, as you can see, is last year's winner. None of these judges will put the same scores to their tabulators, and especially not last year's, because he was just a year ago on stage trying to pitch his idea, and he did very well. He took first place last year, and that is now a junior over at Cook Inlet Academy, Paxton McKnight. He enjoys dirt biking and drumming and is planning on continuing his education at that's the University of Northern Ohio. He wants a degree in high performance motorsports and technologies. And Tim, I only hope by the time he's done, he's not limping like Chester coming after Mr. Dillon. Come on out and stay safe, Paxton, our 2023 CFK champion. And now really all of this technology and the new software that has been specifically written for Caring for the Kenai, so that this program can now go on as Caring for My Backyard in any district in the state, and is now ready to roll out. We actually had people using the assignment over in Glen Ellen and also the middle school this year, because we meet standards in language arts and science, has kids getting ready for this program. And that is the person who will be taking my place after I'm composting somewhere, is Hadassah Knight. Hadassah was also raised here on the Kenai Peninsula, and she is just a technical whiz, and we are really welcoming her. Let's give her a big round of applause. She's the lovely lady over there. And her team backstage, Tatiana and Vata. Yeah, okay. And they're going to be helping with all the kids set up our entries as they come out and present it to you. So our first number up is number 131. So if you'll come on out and check out the stage, we will give it to you. You can applaud. That's okay. They're scared enough. You know. Have you got a clicker? He'll be your clicker. So just give him the sign. Okay. Take it out? Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. All set?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Timekeeper is out there. The judges won't see the timekeeper, but you will. So begin.
Okay. Thomas Sowell once said, "There are no solutions, only trade-offs." What trade-offs are we willing to make for the answers to our problems? Are we willing to wear mosquito repellent even though it smells bad? Are we willing to take a driving test to keep others safe on the road? Are we willing to lose our expensive choke cherry trees to a hungry moose? Go first. Choke cherries are a popular but invasive ornamental plant that thrives in Alaska, but they can be deadly to the moose population because during the winter, when the leaves and buds freeze, they cause cyanide gas. Moose browse on these trees, causing death to themselves within the span of 20 minutes and potentially destroying the tree value as well. Slide 2. How can we solve this problem? What's been tried? The municipality of Anchorage has banned the sale of choke cherry trees. Do we want that here on the peninsula? I have considered this as a possibility, but I believe that having people make their own choices is much more feasible and helps others to learn about choke cherries. Multiple animals rely on choke cherry trees as a food source, including birds, rabbits, hares, rodents, and bears. So taking away a natural food source for them may just create a bigger problem than what we already have. Are there any other potential solutions? How well defined is this problem? This graph shows the cumulative number of choke cherries sold at a single nursery on the peninsula over a span of 5 years. It doesn't, however, account for the natural reproduction of trees in the forests, along river bends, and other places choke cherries can be purchased. In 2011, the Alaska Department of Fish and Game conclusively found that 3 moose had died from cyanide gas poisoning caused from eating chokecherry trees. This was the last time any research has been done regarding the effect chokecherry trees have on moose. One could even speculate with the increased number of trees sold, the amount of potential moose deaths is on the rise. Is there a simpler, less intrusive way to tackle this solution? To form and cause a solution to our problem? I have created a brochure focused on a repellent called Plant Skin, which has been found, next slide, to keep the moose and smaller animals away from chokecherry trees. It works by inducing a fear-based response in the animal's mind, causing no harm to the animal. I had created this brochure and tags promoting the repellent to such a high extent that I forgot what my main objective was. When I went to a local greenhouse that sells chokecherry trees and asked them to place my brochures and tags within their store, they turned me down. They turned me down because they did not like this particular product and sold a similar but different brand of repellent in their store. So I decided to take a new approach and recreated my brochure. Slide 4. This new brochure explains that what chokecherry tree is and the dangers that they pose to moose, as well as a list of multiple well-proven repellents and where to buy them. It gives some photos examples as well to help people see the tree beauties. Thank you to Trinity Greenhouse for answering all these questions. I asked some friends and family if they knew what a chokecherry tree was. They said that they did not know if they were good or bad, and half of them didn't even know what it was. This made me wonder where I could place the brochures. Initially, I thought of just placing the brochures in greenhouses that sold chokecherry trees, but wanted to reach a broader audience. In addition to greenhouses, I would like to place my brochures in visitor centers and fish and game offices. My next steps are to get in contact with the aforementioned places to see if they would be interested in placing the brochures in areas people have access to. Hopefully, raising awareness about this could potentially lead to state and federal agencies securing funding to research this problem more in depth. Caring for the Kenai has helped me discover that I haven't found an exact solution to this problem, but I do feel I have produced a trade-off that is less intrusive on the public to showcase the harm chokecherry trees cause to moose. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions from the judges? Do you know if it affects adult or adolescent moose more or less?
It's both, to my knowledge, and it also helps keep other smaller animals away. So if you choose to place it on your vegetable garden, it also keeps smaller rabbits and other small rodents away.
Do you know, is it the leaves or the fruit or the bark or what is it that's...
It's the leaves and buds that when they freeze, but if you cut the branches at all, it can also cause cyanide gas to form there as well. But it's mostly just over time for the winter.
Have you?
Don't choke up, judges. Let's have some other questions.
I don't think this is on.
The other one. Yes? No? No. The other one on the scan.
Try the other.
No, that's just. Have you considered looking at locations in the area where you see chokecherries and doing door knocking or like letting homeowners know?
I have not personally considered that. That's actually a really good question. Thank you. I will consider that. But my main goal was just to get it out for anyone who could see it. If I were to go door to door, I would just be focusing on those places, and I would like to reach a broader audience.
How often do you have to apply the product to the chokecherry tree?
It actually lasts 3 months, and it's really good over the winter and lasts through rain, unlike a lot of other products.
Any other question, judges? Tim.
I was curious, how expensive is it?
For a small bottle, so far I've found is $14, but I cannot give a direct number due to different retail sales.
And does one bottle take care of just one tree or a variety?
Multiple.
Multiple trees.
The one I have found actually gives off a red spray to allow you to see what you've already sprayed to not cause any problems.
Thank you.
And be careful not to drive after taking just 2. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, judges, there your score. That's number 131. Thank you very much. Let's give her a big round of applause. Well done. Good research. And next, we have coming out our second presentation tonight, number 263.
Hello, everybody. All right. Okay.
Okay, if everything looks good and if you're ready, go for it.
Picture this. Picture this. It's 3:07 p.m. next Tuesday. You're still at work and you feel large shakes in the ground. You hear windows breaking and car alarms going off. Next thing you know, the power goes out and you can't see a thing. You instinctively go to your phone to call someone. The only problem is there's no service. Without being able to communicate, how are you going to get to safety? How are people going to get the resources they need to recover from this event? And who are you going to be able to help? We rely on communications such as cell phones that rely on infrastructure that can easily be damaged in a situation like I just described. Well, thankfully, we have radios. We can just use those, right? However, to be an amateur radio operator, you need to be licensed. And there aren't many of those in the community. Even if all the ham radio operators in Alaska lived here, only 5.2% of the population would be operators. And when they're gone, there will be even fewer. Those resources that we have in emergencies would also be gone. But that doesn't mean this method is entirely lost. This is where I hope my project can make an impact. Ham radio, what is it? How does it work? And what are the benefits of it? According to the American Radio Relay League, amateur radio is a popular hobby and service that brings people, electronics, and communication together. People use ham radio to talk across town, around the world, or even into space, all without the internet or cell phones. It's fun, social, educational, and can be a lifeline in times of need. Ham radio works by operating on radio waves that don't necessarily need towers built around it. The benefits of ham radio are you can take it anywhere you want. It's reliable in emergency situations because radios use VHF and UHF waves to carry a message, and they don't need towers set up around the continent, compared to cell phones relying on towers that can be damaged in times of need. That's why it's my goal to help grow the next generation of ham radio users. There's already plenty of clubs around our area, and I'm striving to build one at my school. With the permission of our administration and a sponsor from one of my teachers, starting a club won't be too far off. Because I want to teach people about ham radio, I first need to earn my license. I've been studying for it, and I hope to take a test soon. I will also need radio equipment, but before that, study material. I plan on either accepting donations or getting equipment secondhand and making purchases if necessary. So far, to accomplish this, I've been talking to teachers about starting a club and radio operators from the Moosehorn Radio Club, from whom I have been able to learn about all the things a radio club is capable of. I also know that because of this, there are many resources out there that I'll be able to use for my benefit and the benefit of others. Next school year, I hope to find a lot of people that are interested in radio and around 3 that would actually want to join my club. As the years progress, I even want to be able to spread to other schools. But most importantly, I would like to get people interested in ham and all of its possibilities. Today, there are many different types of ways to use ham. There's actually already large radio youth groups in the world and more being created each day. Through these clubs, there are lots of events and activities such as Hamfest, fox hunting, and competitions to see who can make the most contacts in a certain amount of time. With ham, you are also able to communicate with people around the world, or even just someone down the street. We could talk with someone from the lower 48, just like people have done for emergencies in the past. Even today, during emergencies, radio is being used by organizations such as the American Red Cross and Salvation Army. It is arguably the most important responsibility of the radio to be a service to the people in their times of need. I sincerely hope that not only I will be able to accomplish my goals in starting a club, but that in the future I will also be capable of helping people when they need it the most, and when they can't rely on normal communications, even in the most drastic of disasters. This presentation started out as an assignment from my science teacher, and now I am learning about the change I'm capable of making in my community. I appreciate and thank you for your time tonight. All right.
It's been decades since I learned Morse code. Could you check my understanding? You no longer need to learn Morse code for a entry-level 2-meter license?
No, I don't believe so.
Thanks.
Yes?
I love your idea. My grandfather was a ham radio operator, and my mom tells stories of listening to him every night, all night long. And I know from emergency communications and the work I did on the peninsula, when we've done some of our prep, that the ham radio and relying on ham radio is something that is important. So I applaud you for this. I've not heard of this in the schools in all the years that I worked here. So what got you interested? Like, what sparked your interest in this from the very beginning?
So it first started out as like briefly like hearing tidbits about radio just in normal everyday life. And then when I started this project, I knew I wanted to do something with radio because I knew that there had always been things like, oh, cell phones can go out just like that, and you wouldn't be able to do anything about it. And then that's when my teacher told me about ham radio, and I liked the idea of starting a club.
Anybody else? Shannon or Tim? Go ahead, Shannon.
Is there a power source that's required to operate the ham radio?
As of right now, I'm not sure, but there are towers around, like for even normal communications, and there are many ways to use ham radio. Like you can even use it on computers with internet. And I learned that that's what they do until the internet goes out. So they start with that, and then when like there is it, they have other methods such as using nodes to communicate.
And Tim, you had a question?
I just wanted to say, having spent all the time that I spent over on the other side of the water over in Soldovia, between Soldovia and Nanwalik, Port Graham, ham radio is part of the answer, because cell phone service isn't something that you see all the time over there. So I hope that next year when you're able to get your club up and running, you look at folks on the other side of the water, because I think that you'd find a lot of support with our superintendent of schools to try and branch out over there, because there'd be some pretty interesting things. So, great idea.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Okay, let's have a big round of applause for number 263. Personally, I think we have enough hams on the radio. Was that a bad joke? What? We'll give, yes. Oh, we can have me ham it up a little bit with some stories and jokes, right? Puns are always intended, and they're always so bad. We got kind of a full house here tonight. That's really exciting because as I tell often at the chamber meetings, that if we have a state championship basketball team, volleyball team, or football team, we will pack every auditorium that we have, elbow to elbow and shoulder to shoulders. And then when they get that state championship, and I am not dissing athletics, okay, but when they get that plastic trophy and they put it in the trophy box, okay, that they can remember 10, 20, 30 years later, and then they start walking because they blew their knee out when they were playing football, okay, or something else happens to you along the way, so that when you get to be my age, you're no longer walking on 2 feet, okay, and these kids will have cash tonight, okay, prize money that they can invest or whatever they want to do because they thought. And yes, athletics are important, and we should always learn that team spirit and continue and fund them to the hilt. But their mind, their ideas, thinking, and creating is what Caring for the Kenai is all about. You guys got your scores all in? Anybody need any more time? Okay, then we will bring out our next contestant, who is number 086. Number 86, judges.
A great Chinese philosopher once said, "If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime." Knowledge is power, and I want to empower the people of the Kenai Peninsula with the knowledge of blizzard preparedness. Originally, I planned on simply giving away blizzard preparedness kits to new and inexperienced drivers. I've expanded that idea to include sharing this vital information with more than just drivers. What is in the blizzard preparedness kit? First aid kit, snacks, water bottle, blankets, flares, and a flashlight. How I plan on educating people is putting pamphlets in preparedness kits in which I will give away at local events so people can see why blizzard preparedness is important and what items are needed to be prepared. Flares are important because they can give out a distress signal and alert people when they need to be cautious. Hot hands can be very important because they're easy to store in your glove box and they can stay warm for up to 10 hours. A flashlight is important so you can see, and it's not, you have a flashlight on your phone, but that doesn't mean you want to use it because you can save your power if you just bring a flashlight with you. It's not that hard. Snacks are always important. An emergency blanket can keep you warm, preserve your heat for over a night. You always want to keep water with you because water can last you way longer than food. And a first aid kit is always important because who knows when you might need it. As a passenger, you won't always be riding with someone who has a kit. That's why the educational part is so important. I plan on educating so that people, including passengers, can know what they need to be prepared. Even if they don't own a kit, they can know what they need to get prepared. Education is probably the most important part of this project. You can have a kit but not know how to use it. Or what if you used everything in that kit already? You have to know what you need to be prepared at all times. If I educate people, I can prepare them for a lifetime. Why I did this project, you might ask? In September, it was just an assignment I did for a grade in biology. My idea became personal when I realized as a passenger of a first-year driver that winter was coming up and I hadn't been prepared for if we got stuck or if our car broke down. In summary, if you give a girl a blizzard preparedness kit, you save her for a winter. If you teach a girl how to be prepared, you save her for a lifetime. Thank you.
Judges, question time. Yes, Fred. David.
How do you hope to reach those new young drivers with this information?
We were talking about giving out kits and at high schools to new drivers and possibly presenting this to them.
Anybody else? Sure.
Yeah,
Clayton.
thank you. I really like your idea, just being in Alaska and having some young drivers in the past. And even when we go to Anchorage, right, we always make sure we're ready during the winter. So very applicable. Have you thought of any sponsors that could help you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have a list of sponsors.
Excellent. All right. Thank you.
We'd even let you name them if you wanted to. Anybody else? Next question. Yes, Ben.
Yeah, it was really good job. I'm curious, the blanket, talking about like an aluminum blanket that fits over one person, or can
Yeah.
you take it out,
Yeah,
or does that be?
It's one of the little.
Paxton, you have a question back there?
Yeah. So would these kits would the students have to buy them? Or,
No, they're
okay.
for free.
Okay, and you said you have a list of sponsors that are willing to cover
I
the
have a list of
costs?
sponsors that I'm going to call. I don't have confirmation yet, but
Okay. Do you have any ways to generate money after, like, so these sponsors, after you get the money from them, if you hand out enough kits, do you have a way to generate more money after that, or is it just by donation?
I'm pretty sure it's just by donation is what I was thinking, and possibly fundraising.
Okay.
Actually do have a comment myself. Other things to bring with you to be prepared besides what's in the blizzard preparedness kit is jumper cables, ratchet straps, portable chargers, food items, shovels, ice scrapers, medications if needed, and extra layers.
Did you say political chargers? I've been trying to figure out how to charge up our politicians for years. Where do I get one of those? Any other questions? You guys already, okay. Enter your scores for number 86. Is it live now? Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Okay, our next number entry is 55, 0. Speed limit. Don't exceed it now. Get everything the way you want it, everything you need?
Yeah.
Okay, timekeeper, we can get him started.
Okay. Good evening, sharks. Good evening, sharks, and get ready to listen to my great idea. My great idea is creating fishing tools from recycled waste. The concept of out of sight, out of mind has unintentionally caused Alaska to become victim of an ocean full of plastic and debris. As you all know, the Alaska coastline is extremely vast and remote. The combination of oceans, currents, and increasingly devastating natural disasters causes marine debris from around the world to pile up on Alaska's shores. Alaska's shoreline is longer than all the U.S. states combined. Because of this, it has dealt the largest concentration of marine debris in the country, causing extreme pollution to our beautiful state. Alaskans are not void of creating our own problem, though. Here at home, we Alaskans create 650,000 tons of garbage each year. Out of that staggering number, only 6% of it is recycled. Can you believe that? Alaska's pollution problem needs immediate action. That's where my amazing idea comes in. Thankfully, with recent technology and 3D printers, we can recycle much of this waste into useful products. Who in this room likes to fish? Go ahead, raise your hand up. As you can tell, a majority of this room put their hand up. Us Alaskans, we love to fish. My idea is to create fishing tools like lures, beads, divers, really anything you can imagine with recycled garbage found on the coastline of Alaska. My father has made some fishing tools from mostly plastic that works really well and can be made with the recycled filament. This is kind of what it looks like. It's got beads and it's got this. Yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory. And we can recreate more with recycled waste. Not only is this great for the environment, but we can also sell them to help boost the economy. Recycling trash into something like filament is not as challenging as you might think. First, you have to grind down all the plastics that you find into very small pieces so you can dry them all and put them into an extrusion line to make the filament. With this recycled filament, we can of course make the fishing gear. That's just one example of how my idea can be put into practice. Imagine walking down the beach with your family, searching for agates, and picking up garbage as you see it. You go home and start grinding away on the garbage and start to get the process started. Before you know it, you'll have a table full of fishing products to try out on your next adventure or to sell around town to pay for the gas in your boat or maybe my next dinner. So as you can all see, taking garbage from our beautiful state and turning it into fishing tools would both be cost effective and great for the environment. For a land hailed for its beauty, Alaska is at risk of losing a lot of it because of trash. Together, we can make sure that doesn't happen. Maybe you'll even catch a new record on your recycled filament. Sorry. That's a device. I forgot to nod my head. Any questions? All right. Now, are there any questions?
I see it in your eyes.
I'm just curious about the different types of plastic. Are you able to combine different plastics, or do you have to use certain kinds to get them to melt?
From the research I did, it can be almost any plastic.
Shannon, I would imagine.
I figured you were going to call on me regardless. What an amazing research and project that you've looked into. Marine debris is a large issue for Alaska, you know, having the most miles of coastline. We get it from all directions. And what an innovative idea. Have you considered hosting collection sites for individuals?
No, but that's a really good thing to keep in mind.
Bruce, go ahead. I see that question.
Well, yeah, my question is, you know, I love the idea. I love the idea of picking up the plastic and utilizing it for fishing lures. Have you thought about other applications as well? If you're going to grind it and put it in a 3D printer, have you thought of other ways that you could turn that into a sellable product?
No, not really, but I feel like I could probably think of other ways on how to convert it into sellable matter.
And David.
Do you imagine that the 3D printer with its programmed output travels around to different users, or do users come to one place to do their 3D printing?
I was thinking that there'd be like an area that has 3D printers and of course, with the filament being made from the plastic. Yeah, I was just thinking that there could be a place that was like, with money invested from like the borough and stuff, that we could have a place with 3D printers that people could go into and put and make the fishing lures.
All in, all done, judges? Okay, enter your scores and we will move right along. Congratulations. Big round of applause. Number 65. Scores all in. Okay, that is a handout from our next contestant, who is number 120. You will want to enter 120 on your scoring apparatus. You got your own laptop, don't you? Yeah. Get up nice and close to it. There you go. That should be
Okay.
good.
Hello, I'm contestant number 120, and tonight I will be presenting my 2024 CFK proposal. Did you know that when you eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, you are helping prevent climate change? The purpose of my project is to help prevent climate change and support my community by growing fresh produce in my local community garden. This project is very important to me, the community, and even our salmon population. And when we eat more organic and fresh foods, we would decrease that amount of greenhouse gases. That is why I'm creating a volunteer-based community garden that partners with the students with the Kenai Peninsula. Greenhouse gases are gases that keep the earth warmer than it would be without them. The way energy enters and exits the atmosphere is the way the earth stays warm. When energy from the sun first reaches earth, it comes mainly as light. But when that same energy leaves the earth, it comes as infrared radiation, which we know as heat. Greenhouse gases reflect infrared radiation, so some of the heat leaving the earth bounces off the greenhouse gases in our atmosphere and comes back to the earth's surface. In 2021, about 671.5 million metric tons of CO2 were released by commercial farmers. But by creating a community garden, we can decrease that number. With these greenhouse gases being released into the atmosphere, commercial farming is causing climate change, and that will cause rising waters. We need to find a solution to this huge problem because it's also affecting our fish. If our oceans and rivers start to rise, then that could get our fish to be smaller and even make our fish species decline. As an Alaskan, I want to protect our fish and our local fishing industry for many generations to come. Landfills are also responsible. They are the third largest contributor to releasing greenhouse gases. This project can tackle another way to reduce that problem while feeding our soils. My solution to this problem is to create a local community garden for the Kenai Peninsula communities. The way my project will help solve this climate change is because the more organic products we eat, the less greenhouse gases there will be. My idea is original because there have not been any local community gardens for the Kenai, Soldana, and Nikiski areas. The major steps for my project would be to find properties that would give the best outcomes for this garden. The ideal parcel would be close to schools, nursing homes, and the Boys and Girls Clubs. This would make it easy to incorporate our garden into classes or daily activities for seniors. We also need to find as much help from our community as possible to help run it and make it a special place for everyone to love. Although there are some challenges that come with this project, I still believe it is a great way to help out our community. The weather can affect this project, but if we use the proper fruits and vegetables for our cold weather, we can make it work. Some of the best vegetables for Alaska are squash, turnips, potatoes, radishes, strawberries, rhubarb, lettuce, kale, and even zucchinis. I created this booklet for each of you to look over with additional information and ideas that make this successful in our area. The intended outcome of this project is to create a garden that will help our community control climate change and make sure our fish stay safe for many generations to come. The cost will vary due to parcel prices, planters, raised beds, and water systems. I will try to get local businesses and sponsors to help sponsor this project, but I will also create different types of fundraisers like car washes, bake sales, selling our class-grown plants, and even our recycled planters. I have included a page with information about that project as well. There are also grants available from the United States Department of Agriculture that we can apply for. My community garden will benefit the Kenai, Soldana, and Nikiski areas by decreasing the amount of gases let into our atmosphere, increasing mental well-being by creating a place for inclusion, growing healthy food, and by recycling waste that would end up in landfills, turning it into a nutrient-rich compost instead. These are just a few reasons why we should create a community garden. In conclusion, this project is huge, and I'm aware that it will take a lot of work to make it successful. But with just a few steps, we could make it a reality. High school gardening classes will be a key to this project. But when we start to build planters, learn how to grow seeds into plants, learn how to compost, and gain the education we all need to be community and home gardeners. I would like to thank all my teachers who helped me with this project idea. Without them, none of this could happen. Please continue to read this booklet for more information on my plan for this project. Thank you.
Great job. I remember in the very first year, Abby Alla, who's a homesteader out here, asked her why she liked farming. And she said, well, you like to eat, don't you? Questions, judges? Go ahead, Clayton.
Yeah, thank you. So great idea, and I love the booklet. Just going through here, I'm like, okay, there's some ideas for me too that I could go with. Have you approached your teachers about possibility of a shop class making these, or?
I have. I've talked to our local shop class teacher, and he said that it would be a great way to help, like, include them to make raised beds for this garden.
All right, terrific. Thank you.
Little help from your friends. Anybody else? Tim, I see a question there.
It's not so much a question. It's as our boss over there had mentioned, I'm retired now, and besides golf, gardening is the other thing that I really am spending a lot of time with. In fact, I've been spending time deciding what's going into my planters and all. So this is just outstanding. Great job, and I really think the schools could do a great job with tying that in. And I love the idea of the seniors. We've got some great senior centers all around, and between the senior centers and Boys and Girls Club, this would go a long way. And I think I saw somebody here in the audience that may, he's got a big role on the whole Kenai Peninsula Borough, that this probably would fit very, very well if there was a couple of dollars they could throw that direction to help out the school with that. So I'm not mentioning names, but great
and it
job.
won't help your golf swing at all. I'm sorry.
I've played with him too. No, it ain't gonna help it. Either of us.
Do we have any legitimate questions out there for you guys? Peggy?
I think that one of the fun things could be is starting this younger in schools. So I think about like Soldotna Montessori does their community gardens, and then they sell everything to the public on a day, or they used to. So an idea would also be to get kids involved young once this gets going, and work with some of the schools. That would be fun to see happen.
Yes,
to
I
grow
would love
their
to see
awareness.
that happen.
All these good ideas. You've got a lot to build on. The community is there for you. Let's give her a big round of applause. Number 120. And it's working. We are at the halfway mark already. So the technology is definitely advancing. We've only been out here an hour so far. So good job, judges, and good job backstage. And now we are going to be ready as soon as you get your scores entered for number 187. 187, come on out, inspect the stage, make sure you got everything that makes you feel comfortable and that you need for your presentation.
Meryl, will you ad lib for a minute?
Add what? Oh, I'll ad lib a little bit. Yeah, I can do that. We're setting the stage up. You want to get the mic nice and close? Is that a good height? Let me bring it up a little bit. There you go.
Good evening. I'd like to start by thanking you all for this
Hold
amazing.
on 1 second. We're still giving
Oh.
Peggy a chance to catch up with her computer here.
It's okay.
Did we lose the battery power? Okay. So being retired, Tim, when you were golfing at 18, how's your swing now?
Coming along.
Yeah, right. Another 100 years, Tim, you may be there.
I just have to not watch certain people's swings, because that, gives you bad habits when you watch other people.
The first job I ever had was caddying, and I caddied for 3 straight years. I developed a 0 handicap, but I never hit a golf shot. I hate it. I love the game, but I hated my swing. I could fix other people's swings, but I've never played since, and I'm not going to embarrass myself now at this age, 70 years later, right? Okay, everybody ready for the next entry number? Okay, you're looking for number 187. Get him straightened out, Hadassah. Okay, he's ready to go. And now you're ready to go. Go, 187.
Good evening. I'd like to start by thanking you all for this amazing opportunity. I'm really happy to be here and excited to share my project with you. I think it's very important. The Turnagain Arm mudflats are one of Alaska's natural beauties, but what a lot of people don't know is that they're very dangerous. The glacial silt that makes up the mudflats is angular instead of round, so when it settles, it locks together, creating a concrete effect. People often think they can walk across safely. But what happens is water runs underneath it and it slips past itself, creating a quicksand effect. People get trapped. And because of the fast-moving board tide, a lot of people drown. This happens a lot to tourists, but also our own Alaska citizens, just because people are uninformed. In this situation, time is the killer. Even if EMTs are called in time, most of the time the tide is already too quick for them. This is a big mental toll on our EMTs when they can't save someone. I talked to Girdwood Fire Chief Michelle, and she told me to tread lightly on the subject. And she suggested that I not contact any of the EMTs that were on calls that were unsuccessful because they're all traumatized. Even if EMTs do save someone, it's a lot of money from the borough. Girdwood Fire Chief Michelle says that each mission is somewhere from $1,000 to $2,000, but that is not including extra expenses like helicopters, which is $10,000 to $20,000. The current signs are hardly noticeable. They're not enough, and they're not in key points around the flats where people would have access. A lot of them are hidden or very small. My design is much louder and more noticeable. We would make more and put them in key points around the flats like pullouts or campgrounds. I also have a QR code available that leads to additional information about the flats. I also think we could do a memorial around the flats that would illustrate the lethal nature of the mud while also honoring those who have passed. In addition to those two ideas, we could do radio ads and social media accounts. We could inform as many people as possible in that way. Since the signs would be on both state and borough land, I talked to both state and borough officials who said they would help with the project. Joe Burns at DNR, I talked to for permitting. Andy Mills, the special assistant to the commissioner at DOT, who would ensure we do it legally. And Kenai Peninsula Emergency Manager Brenda Alberg says her department can help fund the project. And lastly, signs. Cost. I spoke with the Alaska Department of Transportation. An 18 by 18 road sign costs about $18. If we had about 18 signs plus the total cost of stakes, that would be around $1,800, which is much less than a typical rescue mission. Thank you.
You know, it never ceases to amaze me. Every year we read about or hear about somebody who's gone out there on the mud flats and hasn't, paid attention at all. From a funding standpoint, do those people that do get saved, is there a financial, do they get billed for that? Does that work that way, or how's that?
I'm sure they do. I'm not completely informed on that, but I'm sure they do.
That might be a way to help fund additional, some of the additional advertising and marketing with it. But I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Any other questions, judges?
I appreciated your thoughts about perhaps putting memorials to people who had passed in this way, because while public policy is ideally informed by data, our personal decisions often are driven by anecdote and stories. Did you have thoughts about what the form that might take?
I was thinking more like plaques, maybe naming the year that these happened. Not necessarily the name, but disclosing the year and like just where on the flats that happened. And I think it would be a really good way to honor those, because a lot of people don't know anything about all the people that have passed away.
Peggy.
I love your idea and your sign. I'm curious, do you have any idea from having talked to the EMT response team how many times they're called out a year or a month, or how many responses they have to respond to?
I do not know the exact number of how many times they've gone out. It is really hard to find information about this particular issue because a lot of people just don't know about it.
Thank you.
Clayton, you have a question?
Oh, it's more you steadily answered the questions as you went through the presentation, but just a comment that, every time I drive to Anchorage during the summer and I see a family or someone out on the flats, it makes me want to holler and scream. And I think we've all had that feeling knowing the stories over the years. So just commend you on this great project.
Thank you.
Hey, moron, you want to die? Get out of there. Any other questions? Shannon.
I also want to say thank you for bringing attention to this issue. Being a lifelong Alaskan as well, it always scares me when I drive through there and I see all the tourists pulled out in the pullouts. Are there currently any signage whatsoever along the flats?
There is currently signs, but most of them are on the side of the highway and they're really small. A lot of them are like dark colors too. It's really hard to notice they're even there.
All in, all done? And the tragedy is they're just there to have fun. And they spend a lot of money to come to Alaska to have fun. And then they're gone. That's sad. Let's give her a big round of applause, everybody. Good work. Keep it up. Scores all in? Okay. I remember the first year of caring for the Kenai, one of the comments I got from one of our sponsors is, you couldn't keep this going very long because how many ideas can you have? And yet, year after year, decade after decade, new things, because kids think and see things in a different light. And they're bringing it to our attention, and our community is backing it up to make it a better place and a safer place for everybody to live. So the kids will never run out of ideas, and that's one of the exciting things about this program. Our next contestant is number 211, and we are excited to see what they are proposing to do to improve the quality of life here on the peninsula. So let's welcome number 211. You have everything you need. Stage the way you want it. You're all good to go. We will strike the table. Thank you, Tatiana.
Hello, everyone. We are very excited today to present our idea to.
I'm so sorry for being late. I'm still getting used to that extremely inconvenient time change. If only there was a way to change that.
Well, actually, there is, and that's exactly what we're here to talk about.
We believe that at the latitude Alaska is at, staying on daylight savings time year-round would benefit the state on many levels.
This change would allow the state to have an extra hour of usable daylight in the evenings that we lose every year when we are on standard time.
Having increased daylight later in the day allows for less electricity to be used, creating a positive environmental impact.
Later daylight encourages more active lifestyles among the community.
With more people outside, less electrical energy is used inside.
This reduces fossil fuel emissions that contribute to pollution in our environment.
As you can see, the leading source of energy in Alaska is natural gas, with the next few all burnables.
Did you know that it takes 41 bathtubs full of natural gas just to power a single house in a single day?
The amount of electrical energy wastage could be largely decreased, saving money that could be filtered back into our state's economy.
While there are a lot of positives that go with permanent daylight savings time, some people disagree and think standard time is better.
For the public, the main argument against daylight savings time is the fact that the sun doesn't rise until an hour later, as well as other things like morning travel. For parents, this poses a threat to their kids' safety as they walk to school.
While that is a valid point, at Alaska's northern latitude, during the school year, the sun doesn't rise until kids are at school or people are at work, no matter what time we're on.
This graph shows the year-long sunrise and sunset times. As you can see, it is dark in the morning on standard time and daylight savings time. When people are going to work and school, it's going to be dark. However, on daylight savings time, more light is present in the afternoons, allowing people to do stuff after work and school. On standard time, it would be dark during this time.
Because of all the benefits staying on daylight savings time offers, this is a very popular opinion, so much so that it was proposed as a bill in 2022.
This bill was presented to the Senate but turned down by the legislature. This was because touring guides in Southeast Alaska argued that it was detrimental to the tourism industry.
However, the hours of daylight present in Alaska during the high tourist months range from roughly 18 to 24 hours a day, allowing tourists and touring guides plenty of time to explore the state.
We believe that this bill should be reintroduced to the Senate, and we've came up with 2 different ways to make this change.
The first way is to rewrite a bill to give Alaska the ability to stay on daylight savings time year-round. This is because individual states do not have the power to switch permanently to daylight savings time, but they can opt to stay on standard time if wanted. States like Arizona and Hawaii have both done this.
This plan will entail writing a new bill or reintroducing House Bill 31, the one submitted in 2022. To do this, we are working on finding a champion or a representative to work with other representatives to help write and introduce this bill.
We have contacted politicians such as State Representative Justin Ruffridge and State Senator Jesse Bjorkman to act as this person, as well as reached out to Mayor Peter Machicki and U.S. Senators Lisa Murkowski and Dan Sullivan for insight on how to get this project farther.
The public support is also very important in making this change possible. We have set up multiple social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook to gain support and raise awareness online to let Alaska citizens know what our plan is and how their support is greatly appreciated.
School-centered campaigns can also raise awareness in students and teachers and can help getting word out to larger schools, such as Anchorage and Valley schools.
So as you can see, society's opinion and support is just as important as the representatives. Without the public support, this bill could never be made. And this leads us right into our second plan.
If we are not successful in passing this bill through the Senate, we would continue gathering the support of the public to try and pass a law through the Citizens Initiative and referendum process.
To do this, we would continue to grow our social media presence using our existing platforms and possibly new ones in the future.
Along with this, we have made plans to contact radio stations with the hope of broadcasting our idea. If we were able to do this, we could reach many groups of people, ranging from young to old, informing people of our mission to permanently stay on daylight savings time.
With the help of our champion, we could create a ballot proposal that would be included in the next public election, which is in 2 years. If enough people understand what we are trying to accomplish, we could have our idea become a law.
Having clean air is important to everything, but still, every day fossil fuels are burned to generate electricity, pumping harmful emissions into the atmosphere.
While staying on daylight savings time. Thank you.
Any questions from our judges?
I have one question. What do you see as the biggest opponent of your idea?
This can be ranging from the public, just thinking that with morning being dark, they would like the light in the morning. But here, especially in Alaska, it is dark in the morning, no matter what time we're on. And so a later daylight also helps. Other ones could be people just wanting to, having this change might be difficult, especially for everybody and politicians, but we believe that this is the best choice for Alaska.
Anybody else? Go for it, David.
My morbid mnemonic for when we change in the fall is that we do it right before Halloween, hence making it more dangerous for trick-or-treaters because suddenly it's darker as they're walking the streets. Do you have thoughts about how this, for those who travel to the 48 states or who work in multinational companies, might deal with the differing offsets from the 47 states that observe?
Well, while staying on daylight savings time, we're actually closer to Washington, like those sorts of times. So it would actually be beneficial to traveling down there because there's also like more daylight and we're closer in the time there. So it'd make things a lot easier.
Clayton.
Yeah, thank you. So great idea. And I'm one of those people too that feel that every year, that sudden plunge into darkness after work and whatnot. Is there any impact on business as far as nationally or internationally by changing that time, having to do the stock market or anything like that? Have you heard anything along that line?
Well, as far as economics, it's also very beneficial because if more people are outside during those later hours because they're off school and off work, less electricity is used inside, which saves a lot of money. And also, yeah, sorry.
It boosts retail sales when more people are out after work and school. And with the later daylight, people are more inclined to do that. And so they can fund both national businesses, but also small local businesses as well.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go, Shannon.
Hi, I really like the idea that you reached out to the public and tried to garner support that way for the bill. Have you already created the social media page?
Yes, we have. We have pages out there.
Yeah, we have an Instagram page and we are currently working on getting a Facebook page up.
Fantastic.
Okay, then there goes your excuse for being late or early to church or not going to church. Let's give them a big round of applause. When I came to Alaska, we had 5 time zones. Okay, 5 time zones. You remember that, don't you? No, you weren't before your time. This is the prehistoric era when I came. Okay, thank you very much, ladies. Good job. And I'll be the first to sign your petition. Tim's already got his scores in and he's texting. You let your kids do that, Tim? Okay, guys, if you're all ready, we're going to set the stage here for our next entry, and that will be the one you will locate as number 8 or 008. Number 8 in the 8th position. That was a coincidence. Ladies, get the stage all the way you want it before you begin. Got to keep our timekeeper under control here. I will save any jokes about kicking the bucket until after their presentation. Oh, I just made a joke. Is that the way you want it? You can take it right, pull it right out if you want. Heave ho. There you go. Okay, this is number 008.
Hello. Do you remember the Kenai, the Funny River fire back in 2014? In the corner, that's my dad. And he had to stay on that boat for 2 weeks during the Funny River fire. And when he came home, he had holes in his coat from the fire's ashes. This was not an assignment. This was something that we wanted to do as a group because we love camping and we're Girl Scouts, and so we wanted to earn our Girl Scout Civil Reward project. I know that not all fires are bad, but they are bad if they get too close to people's homes. We talked with the firefighter about what we can do to help reduce human-caused fires. And that's where he asked, do you know what drown stir fuel is? Drown is to pour water onto your fire pit. Stir is to stir with a shovel or a stick. And fuel is to make sure that there's no heat so that there won't be a fire. But as we camp, we realize campers don't have the right tools to put out the fire. That is where our project gives you the right tools.
We came up with the idea of a loaner station for buckets. We talked to a firefighter and they said that one of the main issue was that nobody had they had access to water, but they did not have a way to access a way to get the water to your fire. So how did we get the idea of the bucket tree? We got in a room with some wood and we experimented. We decided during this that we wanted the buckets to hang upside down so that algae would not grow in them. We also made the last branch low enough for it to be handicap accessible so that everyone would be able to use it. After we made the model, we asked around on Facebook for any engineer advice because we're not engineers, so we needed some help. In return, we got blueprints that are available for anyone who needs them to be able to use them. Then we came up with the next 10 that we were going to put into the ground. During this, we learned how to set angles as well as basic building skills. After we made them, we painted them to help resist wood rot as well as blend in with the environment. With these, we wanted to implement borrow, use, return, so people would borrow them, use them, and then return them afterwards.
This is us. In 2022, we installed our first 8 bucket trees around the peninsula. Our local radio and news stations wrote an article about our project. That summer, while we were camping, we got to see our idea come to life. Seeing people use our bucket trees was so exciting. After that first season, we received so much positive feedback, allowing us to put 10 more bucket trees around the peninsula. We gave people a fun and proper way to put out their fires. Our hopes for the future of this project is to expand to campgrounds all over Alaska. We have received a request from Toke for our blueprints so that they can put up their own bucket trees. We are also working with the Rotary Club. We are trying to get a meeting with them to present our project so that they can help us take the bucket trees from sea to shining sea. Thank you. Does anybody have questions?
I'll just comment that, and this is going to sound weird, I was a better Girl Scout than a Boy Scout because when I went on my mother's troop, my sister's troop trips, we worked on trails and trees, and I can go back and 50 years later, they're still there. So, know that you can make an impact that lasts.
Thank you.
Whereas on my first scout trip, the scoutmaster told me, Boy Scout trip, scoutmaster told me to clean up the fire pit, and I shoveled it into a cardboard box and put it in the camper shell. And the truck burned down 10 miles later. So definitely is a very good idea to soak those ashes.
But you survived to tell the story, right? Tim, you're getting ready to kick the bucket. You got any questions here? I mean, this should be a patent or something, right?
I just think it's a great idea. I think it's awesome, and you can make a difference. You see that.
Thank you.
So nice job.
Thank you.
Paxton, you got a question? No, sir. Anybody else? Everybody all in, all done? Okay, let's give them a big round of applause for a great idea. And it will not become a beetle kill danger to get in HEA's way of power lines. Okay, our next entry as we start getting into the home stretch right now is number 226. Number 226, come out, take a look at the stage, be sure it's the way you want it, and then give it a go.
Do I just start? Do I just go?
Yeah, start.
Oh, okay. Other than a few species of fungi, coral, and worms, no animals can actually digest plastic, which is problematic considering just how many animals mistake trash for food. A review by Kuhn and Van Franeker, marine biologists at Wageningen Marine Research, found that over 700 species mistake trash for food. Oh, The amount that die from pollution is also a lot. Plastic eventually breaks down into minuscule microplastics, which are nearly impossible to filter out of the environment once they are there. Furthermore, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization predicts that without change, over 50% of the world's marine species may face extinction by the year 2100. The ocean provides livelihoods to 3 billion people, nearly 50% of the entire global population, and marine fisheries provide 57 million jobs globally. Another problem of plastic pollution is that it affects the food we eat. The surfaces of microplastics can contain heavy metals such as copper and zinc, which can become stuck in the tissues of marine wildlife. Species such as shrimp are filter feeders and will consume everything in their path. As a result, shrimp end up ingesting these particles by mistake and accumulating microplastics in their intestines. Many people and organizations have already done things to combat pollution, such as organizing beach cleanups, making recycling more popular, and instituting environmental agencies. Okay. Adopt a Beach obviously wouldn't solve pollution, but it would help to postpone it. This program is similar to the Adopt a Highway program in the sense that they both aim to keep the environment clean. The idea is this: a person or group of people would take responsibility for a section of beach. Some beaches would require more attention. For example, I live on Coho Loop near the mouth of the Kasilof River, and every year during July, thousands of people visit the beach for dip netting. There are dumpsters, but they eventually overflow. The program would likely be organized through a Facebook group, which would allocate sections of beach and accept donations. The donations would go towards trash bags for the participants and towards bigger expenses, like an old vehicle needing to be towed off the beach. I'm sure we can all agree that we on the Kenai Peninsula are fortunate to have such fabulous beaches, and that we all prefer to have them clean. This program would encourage stewardship in Kenai's community, protect marine wildlife, and give people an outdoorsy opportunity to contribute to the community. This is a way for us to get together and care for this incredibly special and important part of the Kenai Peninsula where water meets land. Thank you.
Good job. Questions from our judges? David.
In addition to getting the litter picked up once it is litter, have you thought about what might improve upstream to not generate as much litter in the first place?
No, have not.
Have you thought about going beyond the individual or the family? I mean, I think businesses would love to sponsor and send employees down for a section of the beach.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Maybe you should enter next year, Bruce.
Sign us up.
Clayton, do I see a question behind those glasses?
No, I'm just anything we can do to clean the beaches. I'm thrilled about, and I like that you've taken. It's a personal for you, right? It's basically in your neighborhood down that way, and we've seen those messes. So I'm glad you're thinking about that local response and how you can make an impact on on that beach there. So good job.
And Peggy, I see a question there.
I love your idea. Especially, I was just in the Hawaiian Islands on a deserted beach that had just like little pieces of plastic all along the high tide line, and from all types of plastic from international waters. It's a really big, important issue. And I'm wondering if there's any regulatory body, I should know it, but I'm not remembering it. Just like the Adopt a Highway, you work with DOT. Do you know who's responsible for, like, that you could contact to put in something peninsula-wide or larger, if there's, what legal entity would be involved with that, with beaches?
I don't think I do know.
Okay.
Actually.
I'd be curious, maybe to research that a little bit and to then be able to organize. I love the idea of having a company come in and do beach cleanup days, as well as individuals or Rotary groups or school groups. It's a fantastic idea.
Thank you.
All in, all done. Thank you very much. Big round of applause. Anybody remember back in the 60s, the movie The Graduate? Huh? Dustin Hoffman was The Graduate, right? There's one gentleman as old as I am almost. And, okay, his uncle leans over to him to inspire him, and he just says, plastics. Now, the whole world watched that movie, and everybody went out and invested in plastics, didn't they, Bruce? Just think, if Dustin Hoffman, if we hadn't had that
I
movie.
wasn't born in the 60s there, Merrill.
Thanks for that, Bruce. Okay. That would have been, it all goes back to Hollywood. It's their fault, okay? Okay, we are definitely in the home stretch now, and our next contestant is number 036. Number 36, come on out. Check out the stage. Okay, it looks like we're getting close to ready. Let's bring the ladies out on stage. Would you like 2 microphones? This one's available if you want to grab that one.
Is it on?
Number 36, everybody. When you're ready, just get underway.
Hello. We are very excited to get into this, so let's get into it. Please, next slide. Next slide. Yeah. We have been involved in the local agricultural community for many years and have firsthand experience with the challenges that come with growing and producing in Alaska. Here on the Kenai, while there is a very real and powerful local food movement, its future is uncertain, especially because of the fact that many of our current local food producers and advocates are older and nearing retirement. Our project aims to remedy this issue by encouraging young people to continue on in producing, buying, and promoting locally grown food.
Why is this important? As issues surrounding health and the environment continue to escalate, one major factor comes to mind: food. Food is more than just an energy source. It is a major factor that affects our quality of life and overall health. Where the food is sourced can also impact our environment. According to the Alaska Food Policy Council, an estimated 95% of food purchased in Alaska is imported, meaning that any issue in shipping could have catastrophic consequences. Not only that, but such mass importation is detrimental to our environment, requiring large amounts of resources and increasing greenhouse gas emissions. As if that wasn't enough, most of these imported foods lose a huge amount of nutritional value over the course of their journey north.
The issue of shipping and its environmental impacts is just one of many examples of subjects that we hope to cover in showing that local food is better for our health as well as our ecosystem. While food security and sustainability remains a large issue statewide, we can start making an impact here in the Kenai by working together to educate more of the next generation on the importance of growing and purchasing locally sourced products. This brings us to the big question: how do we plan to cultivate the future? We were featured in a locally produced documentary film called Nourishing the Kenai, which was recently completed and shown in several locations throughout the state. An assortment of clips from this film is shown on the slide. While we will use this film as a starting place for our media-based outreach, we hope to produce an additional film that will be specifically made to resonate with our generation by asking our peers within the agricultural community why they think local food is rewarding and important. We hope to bring in relatable and modern perspectives that will allow young people like us to see how local food is not just a product, but a culture, community, and way of life.
In addition to media, our continued involvement and partnership with local food organizations such as the Central Peninsula Garden Club, the Kenai Peninsula 4-H program, and Kenai Local Food Connections will put us in a unique position to work together to bring classes and events to other youth and schools, which will create opportunities to pique interest, increase participation, and spread awareness of the importance of local food and its impact on the environment. Through these classes, we can introduce a new perspective on food and how even in Alaska, it's possible for us to take charge of at least a portion of what we eat. Looking back, raising your own food provides more than just health and environmental benefits. It provides valuable life lessons that we hope all young people can have the opportunity to benefit from. In my experience, it taught me not only sustainable and healthy practices, but also the inevitable cycle of life, how good and bad experiences both have value, and how to find solutions and persevere through it all. It allowed me to recognize the true importance of understanding and protecting the fragile harmony of the environment, the cycle of giving and receiving. Just as we receive from our lands, we should give back by practicing a healthier and more sustainable way of life now and for many generations to come. Thank you for your time, and we hope that together we can cultivate the future of Kenai. Questions?
This reminds me of the Foxfire program of decades ago, in which college students went out into Appalachia and interviewed the eldest homesteaders and homemakers and documented tanning leather, bringing in crops and building log cabins, and then published a series of books. Of course, you're not doing books, you're doing videos. Do you have thoughts on how to best distribute those videos for maximum effect?
So, because we already have some experience with the existing film, we were hoping to enter it maybe in some film festivals such as this one has, and possibly also create like some sort of series. We will start off with one film, but we were hoping to create like a series that we can use on social media as well, since social media is very prevalent among this new generation. Any more questions?
Yes. So I heard that you plan to get into classrooms and share what you're doing. Have you been able to get into any classrooms yet, or are you making plans for doing that soon?
I believe one of our films has premiered at the Kenai Middle School, but other than that, not yet. We are planning to very soon.
Excellent. Right. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions? So that one's going to be known as Hollywood. Okay, then let's give him a big round of applause. Great to see youth involved in agriculture. Good job, guys. Next, we are setting up for number 241. All set? Need any bread and mayonnaise or anything? No?
Thank you.
Okay, 241, the stage is all yours.
Never mind. Okay. My partner and I investigated the import of food from the lower 48 to Alaska. The percentage of food imports in our stores blew our minds. Roughly 95% of the food in our local stores comes from the lower 48. The problem with relying so heavily on importing our food from outside sources is that it can be interrupted at any time by disasters like earthquakes, avalanches, rock slides, snowstorms, floods, and wildfires. If the road to Anchorage gets blocked, our stores will not get the shipments of food we need. Is there anything we can do about this problem? We think there is. Let's get growing. Our solution to this problem, Let's Get Growing, addresses the problem of food sustainability by teaching the general public and the next generation the importance of growing our own foods with hydroponics. When it comes to Alaska, our research indicates that in light of short growing seasons and cold temperatures, hydroponics is the #1 option for year-round food sustainability. especially in consideration of the Kenai Peninsula's vulnerability to disaster situations. All of Alaska's growing period is very short because our winters are so cold. Most of the ground is unusable and plants don't get much light, if light at all.
Let's get growing adjust. Let's get growing addresses this problem with it being hard to grow food year round by using hydroponics. The problem with getting the general public to use hydroponics is you cannot find any hydroponics kits on the market for under $50. And for a good hydroponics kit, you are going to be looking at around $100 to over $1,000. And these kits are not super easy to use. So my partner and I have designed a hydroponics cracky system for only $5. This kit will come with everything you need except for a grow light, in which you can find a simple grow light like this for $6. This light ships prime and is all you need to start growing your plants. The advantage to a cracky system is after you get it started, you should not need to do any maintenance to it. I can set up this kit in under 1 minute, and someone should be able to set up this kit for the first time in under 5 minutes. The instructions that come with the kit are very simple to follow. It says, fill water to the black line. Dump 1 bottle of nutrients into the jar. Put rock wool inside of the mesh. Fill around the rock wool with clay. Put the mesh into the jar. Plant a seed into a 1 millimeter hole. Use a grow light or lamp. UV protection is normally on windows, so these will not work. And now John will cover his part.
Our scope for this project is to teach the next generation the importance of growing our own foods and not shipping it. Because in any disaster situation, our shipments could get blocked, and very easily our stores can run out of stock of these vegetables. Thank you.
And sorry, it's not over. And we have imported we have made over 30 of these kits and put 23 of them into Panama Reds, which is a local gardening store that is within 10 minutes of my house. They are currently on shelf for $5, and the biggest advantage is no maintenance. So we hope to get these kits out to kids and other people who are not quite ready to get a expensive kit. We have read the prompt of Caring for the Kenai. It says, what can I do? We have made over 30 kits and given 23 of them to the people at Panama Reds.
And I'm going to have to interrupt you right there, but you can take questions, okay? You're out of time.
Any questions?
So what do you use for the nutrients?
The nutrients we have, on the top of my head, I can only remember 3 of them. We have magnesium, I think copper, and zinc.
Although there is over 68 different elements that you would naturally find in soil in this bottle that your plant will need to grow.
And a follow-up to that would be, where do you get the nutrients? Well,
you want to answer this?
We got our nutrients at Panama Reds and then measured it into these little containers. You can dump these into your bottle and it is pre-measured to the correct amount you will need for your kit. These kits come with 4 nutrients as well as 4 rock wool and enough clay for 4 things. So you can grow 4 plants with these kits.
thanks, and really good job.
Anybody else? Sure, Shannon.
What kind of vegetables can you grow in that particular vessel?
Mostly leafy greens, but we also have a pro kit that is able to grow fruits and vegetables in larger quantities.
Go ahead, David.
I gather you could grow most anything with the grow lights. Are there any produce you can grow in the winter by a window or under kitchen lights or without taking that step?
So the problem with windows is if you live in a house that was made in, like, we're just going to say the last 20 years or so, I do not know when they started doing this, they will have UV protection in their grow lights to stop furniture and your carpets from being bleached from the sun. And unfortunately, that also makes it so that plants will not get the proper light through windows. And traditional light bulbs will not give the proper stuff. So you would need to buy a grow light for your plants.
Thank you.
How long does it take to grow something the size that you're demonstrating right there?
This plant, you can grow a plant around this size in hydroponics in around 4 weeks because hydroponics grows up to 4 times as quick as traditional soil farming. With some plants, not all plants though. Although this plant is not fully grown, it should be able to get to around this large once it's fully grown.
No other questions? Yes? No? Okay, then enter your scores, judges. That's number 241. Thanks a lot. Let's give him a big round of applause. You gonna make me a sandwich afterwards? You bring some mayonnaise? Yeah. Good job, guys. Okay, we are to contestant number 12. And then we are going to have a little aftermath and a little chance for the judges to rearrange their scores if they so see fit. So this is our final contestant, number 139. So punch up number 139, and we will bring out their props. And our contestant, and you can take that microphone out of there if you want to walk in shock. There you go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm entry number 139, and I'm also the last entry for tonight. I'm here tonight to talk to you about a solution to the dangers of young drivers, or to the solution that young drivers are facing on the roads in Alaska using my project called Stuck 101. Stuck 101 is an effective and easy way to equip drivers with the knowledge that they need to get out of a dangerous situation. When teenagers begin to drive, the most common problem is not reckless abandonment on the road, but a simple lack of knowledge and experience of complex road laws. Teens between 16 and 17 years old are the most likely demographic to get in a car crash, the group with the least practical knowledge of driving and the least time on the road. With this in mind, I've created a small booklet that fits in the driver's console that simply shows what to do if a driver gets into a hazardous situation in a remote area, along with providing a guide on how to create a survival kit in case of emergency. In Alaska, we have many opportunities 8 months during the year to drive into a snowy ditch, get in the middle of a snowstorm, blow out a tire, and a host of other problems that could occur when a driver is out of reach of cell service. Most teenagers don't know what to do in a situation like this. What do they do when their car battery runs dead, they run out of gas, or hit a large animal while in a rural area? It is almost never the problem that they have no way out, it is that they don't know the steps to take. A person stuck in a situation like this could call 911, but this would cost them hundreds and even thousands of dollars, plus paperwork. If the problem can be solved without the authorities, it is much better not to call them. And this is why in this booklet I've included this is why in this booklet I've created a survival kit guide to be used when calling someone isn't an option or isn't necessary. When someone crashes their car into a snowbank in the middle of the night, they want direction and they want rescue. This is how to do it in a self-sustaining and cheap way. The manual is made out of 4 steps for building a survival kit ahead of time, and then further survival instructions if a survival kit is not in the car. The first step in preparing a survival kit is to grab a large container. A 5-gallon plastic bin or even just a cardboard box would work. And the second is to collect non-perishable food items to store in this container. Some examples I included were protein bars, dried jerky, and freeze-dried fruit. Bottles of water are also necessary to store, just in case snow or clean water is not close by. The third step is perhaps the most important. Keeping extra winter-specific supplies at all times in this container. This is gloves, a jacket, a flashlight, and a collapsible shovel. And the final step in preparing a survival kit is to invest in a 7 to 10 pound bag of sand. This will help the grip of the car tires if stuck on a patch of ice. The last part of the manual is a guide to assessing and getting out of the problem. It has solutions for multiple situations, illustrating what to do if stuck in a snowbank, on a hill, or in ice. The guide manual I would like to have given out with every driver's ed course is written at a 4th grade comprehension level so every driver will understand. So those are just the steps into creating a guide. So what I'm doing with it now and recently is I've contacted multiple driver's ed programs such as Manny's and the other one in Kenai. I've been researching sponsors so that I can hand these manuals out for free, and I've also been working on refining and publishing the manuals. Those are some pages of the booklet. On the left, you can see the checklist of items that people would, try to fill out, and then the other one is an example of how somebody would get out of one of these situations. So, yeah.
Thank you, judges. Questions? Go, David.
Have you been in any such exciting situations yourself, or have friends that have?
Not yet, thankfully.
Anybody else? Tim.
I was going to say, great presentation and everything. Have you thought at all, you're talking about new drivers. I represent the other end of the driving spectrum there. That's something that it doesn't matter how old you are. Have you looked into being able to provide something like that for the elderly?
No, but that's a great idea.
Now, Paxton, you want to be a motocross racer and motorcycle thing? What do you think? You got any questions about this idea? Should it be required for motorcyclists also? I mean, you can get in a whole lot of trouble on a motorcycle. Anybody else? Any other questions for? I see Peggy reaching for her microphone. Go.
I think just an observation of having moved here from the lower 48, I did know how to drive in snow and ice, but with all the months, perhaps an outreach to realtors or people who are knowing people who are relocating here for the first time, that this could also be something good, or that the chambers would have for a tip for living in Alaska with our conditions that you could expand to.
Any comment? It's your question.
Those manuals were supposed to get handed out, but it's okay.
You're going to send them on down?
Yeah, pass them down. Any other comments while they're looking at?
About Manny's driver's education, I have, we're working on scheduling a meeting, and he's agreed to consider getting this in with his program. So that's good.
Okay. Judges, now do you have any questions?
I have a question. Have you Have you considered bringing these to the schools for students who are 15, 16 years old to possibly review?
Now I am.
All right.
Good job. Okay. File your scores for number 139. Let's have a big round of applause. Good job. Thank you. Okay, before we get to the final score results, it was brought to my attention that we had a little timing error with number 211. So I'd like the judges to all go back into number 211, and we are going to give them 60 seconds because we cut them out of their conclusion of their presentation. So we're going to ask entry number 211, girls to come back on stage. And judges will want to reset and go back to number 211 in case you want to change your final scores.
I'm not late this time. Did you know that staying on one time can really decrease the chance of developing really negative health conditions? These include type 2 diabetes, heart attacks, and seasonal affective disorder.
Staying on daylight savings time specifically, though, gives us an extra hour of daylight in the evenings after people get off work or get off school. This encourages a more active lifestyle among people, which improves their physical and mental well-being.
But daylight savings time doesn't just help humans. It helps our animals as well. Being on daylight savings time shifts the daylight a little bit later in the morning and later at night. And so when moose are most active, which is early in the morning and later at night, it doesn't overlap as much as when people are normally going to work and school. And this can reduce moose collisions that can both fatally harm both citizens and animals. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And if that spawned any other questions for their conclusion, feel free to ask. Okay, if not, go ahead and finish your scores. And we are going to then give you some time as our artificial intelligence does the tabulation. And if you want to change any of your scores up or down, however Hadassah told you how to do that, you can go ahead and do that at this time. And girls, thank you very much. Great job. Congratulations. And this is the portion of the competition that I would usually come out and interview the judges. It was my favorite part of the competition, especially to talk to people like David who've never been here before to get their impressions. And David, unless I'm interrupting your computer there or your scoring, I'm still going to interview the judges, even though the computer doesn't need any time to do the tabulations like we usually take. But what did you think of tonight's presentations, David?
I thought there were very creative ideas, clearly students interested in the community, looking to solve problems, who've put a lot of thought into their theoretical ideas, and then some of them have actually gone and started producing and implementing their ideas. So.
Now, as a math coach, you must like working with young people.
Yeah, it keeps me engaged, and sometimes it's easier dealing with smart 13-year-olds than my own age peers.
Or CEOs like Mr. Janorski, right? It's a lot more fun. Well, Bruce, third year in a row. What do you think of these entries tonight?
Oh, outstanding job tonight. You know, the kids they're all, have such great ideas, and they all obviously care about the community, and they're willing to put their ideas to work. I think what we're seeing are, groups of future leaders in our community.
And no tax dollars were spent here tonight at all, right? So again, thank you very much to all the MC3, otherwise known as Marathon Patrol and MPC. And Mr. Superintendent?
Yeah, well, Merrill, as you know, as superintendent, I hear a lot of wild things about what people think about our schools and our kids, and the vast majority of it not being true. I think people don't come to our schools and see what's happening. And I think this is proof of that tonight. You can see future leaders that we have here, the applying of what they've learned into this.
Our kids are learning.
Our kids are learning. They're applying their learning. I think it highlights that and the good things we're having in our schools and outstanding staff we have working with our kids.
And over the last 30 years, I've seen him do great things, okay, and come back to this community and help build it. However, there was one guy that I had to disqualify, okay? He has been a judge and a supporter of caring for the Kenai for many years, but as borough mayor, I disqualified him as an elected official. Why'd I have to do that, Peter?
It feels a little bit like a recall effort, but
I could have done that. That would have been a little easier.
I don't think you should ask me why you disqualify me until the judges are done.
Judges are done. Done. Okay, we'll give you the punchline to that little interview later. I'm going to go back here to last year's first place winner, and then we'll get some prizes and some trophies out here. Paxton, is it easier being out here behind the microphone rather than standing up there?
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Man, I'm so socially awkward. It's so nice to be back here, not having to talk the whole time.
Now, you wowed the judges last year with a filtration system. Have you done anything in the last 12 months to turn that into a product or to make it available for people?
Yeah, so right after my presentation, I started to do some stuff with Hadassah, but very quickly, the Berkey filters, which are the filters that I use in my project, their company is in a big lawsuit with the EPA because the EPA classified them as a pesticide. And I really don't want to be starting a business with the filters I'm using being classified as a pesticide. So I am leaving that to rest right now until the lawsuit is settled. And then after that, I will reconsider bringing that project back to life.
That's the real world experience, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Regulations. Tim, you got a little bit of experience with running into those kind of hurdles, don't you?
Yeah, but I think he's taking the right approach right now. And just one comment about this evening again. And, we as the older generation, we're in very good hands when we look at what our future looks like up there on the stage tonight. So thank you for bringing this again together.
All I can do is say amen to that, Timothy. Okay. I'm a cripple here.
I just want to say thank you to all the kids that came up on stage. I know that public speaking can be a bit of a challenge, and they were all rock stars at it. It was really impressive to see this amount of talent in our community.
That's for sure. Peggy, okay, you know how much I miss your dad here tonight, but we love having you here. And just kind of surmise the experience for you here tonight.
Well, I've lost track how many years I've been a judge because oftentimes I'm on the round before this where we read 100 submissions to get the final 12. And what I do want to share about tonight is there's things, several of these that I've never seen presented as a Caring for the Kenai project. That's really exciting. The innovation over the years that we've seen through this and the development of the students from when they take their project that's first an assignment and then you see the passion that grows, or an idea they've worked on, for example, with the Girl Scouts, and now they're developing it through this. It's exciting to see what solutions are coming and what problems they're solving.
Now, Ben, Peninsula Community Health Services is about taking care of people that are sick, and yet you guys invest in this program and have been here as a volunteer and as a judge for many years. How does that go together?
I think the kids did a great job at showing why we participate. The number of these that involved maintaining good health, etc., at least almost half of them. But you led me into a part of the conversation that I wasn't going to go. I was going to say we should take a minute to thank Meryl for how many years have you done this, Meryl? Like 150? I mean, 35 or 40. Let's give Meryl a hand.
Well, thank you. But this is the first year that we've had all of these electronics, and it's been with great intrepidation. But Hadassah, are we ready? It worked? We've got the results. Oh, hallelujah. Okay, let's see who our first runner-up is. And again, I'm going to say it. I say it every year, and I tell the kids, and it takes a while for you to understand it, that these kids are all winners. And they're not graded by first, second, third, or fourth place, because this experience is what they won tonight. And the money is just kind of the cream on top of the sundae. But this experience they will take on as a life experience wherever they go or whatever kind of profession they want to pursue. Every year, we give a special designed t-shirt or sweatshirt, hoodies to our 12 finalists. And our first runner-up was number 400, and it is Emma Simmons, and she's from Cook Inlet Academy, and her idea was it was number 139. She's winning $400. That's not a dollar sign, no, that's a tit-tat-toe mark. Usually means number. I'm old school, Hadassah. Thanks for putting up with me again this year. It's been and Kenny Leaf is the instructor at Cook Inlet Academy, and her idea was to pitch preparedness to new drivers, whether they're on motorcycles or not, Paxton, but I think it's a great idea. I wish we could qualify voters with a safety packet like that. So Emma, come on down and receive your sweatshirt. And Emma, I'm going to just ask you to stay on stage left. We're going to get a photo of the whole group after we've announced all of the winners. Our next runner-up is the winner of $400. That's not bad for a homework assignment. Is this a runner-up? That's not right. But this is a runner-up. Runner-up. 6 of those. But it is a runner-up. You checked with the computer. Okay. Our next runner-up is Hadley Howell. She was number 120, and her idea was community gardens. And what a good idea that is. Come on out, Hadley. You know, we talk about sustainable food, and we talk about all of the things that are necessary, and it's really great to see our young people doing that. And we do not evolve as fast as AI does. It doesn't need to take 10,000 years to be able to process food. Okay? So we're going back to being hunter-gatherers with what we eat, and that's going to keep us healthy, like Ben was saying. So congratulations. Please take the stage over here with your sweatshirt. And our next runner-up then is... The curtains are moving. You're going to do a little math back there? Okay. We're doing a little math back there. And then we'll have our next runner-up. And our next runner-up and winner of $400 for her efforts and her hard work, Ava Spurgeon. Ava, come on down. Or I guess it's come on up, isn't it, actually? Congratulations, you did a wonderful job. Have a stand over here, and we'll get to the photos in a little bit. Our next runner-up. Thank you, Tatiana. This is Rylan Broyles as our next runner-up. A big round of applause for him. Good job, Rylan. Followed by our next runner-up. It's a team. We got a whole stack of sweatshirts here. This is the team that Ruby Davis left. It's about the time saving and getting it straight. Number 211, Ruby Davis and your team. Will you come on up? Okay, and I'll let you, each one has your name on it, so if you'll just give them out to the appropriate person according to the sizes that you entered. And we will be now up to, see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we got one more runner-up position, winner of $400, soon to come behind the curtain, from behind the curtain. Must have something to do with the IT, right? Computer glitches? No? Uh-oh, we got words from the man behind the curtain. We don't have their sweatshirts. We got a lost sweatshirt. That's the problem. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, the entry was the community gardens. So you all come on down and we'll find your sweatshirts as we will be moving up the list to our next finalists. So community gardens entry number, you know who you are. We already did the community gardens. Okay, I'm dying out here, you guys. This is why I get choked up when I think about Leonore, because all of these details and all of that stuff is something that she did for over 30 years. And trying to learn all the moving pieces of this process is difficult. So do we have our next place? This is number 263. This is a winner of $550 cash tonight. Kristen Davis is the teacher, and it is the ham radio for youth. Afton Roberts, come on up and get your sweatshirt, Afton. I told you so. I told you so. Good job. The average age is 65 years old. What, in 10 years now, if we have a disaster, there isn't going to be anybody that's younger than me to be able to run a ham radio. So that I thought that was brilliant and very, very original this year. Okay, that must have been 6th place. So now we're coming up to 7th place.
1, 2,
5th place.
5th place. I got to learn how to count. I thought the computers were going to take care of all of them. You want to see my test score? Okay, where are we, Tatiana? We're in 5th place. 5th place, and this is $650. And this is for Abigail Kruming, and her idea was, she's from Cookland Academy, and her idea was taking the choke out of choke cherry. Good job. They're beautiful trees, and there's your sweatshirt. Thank you very much for the work you did. Okay, that takes us up to 4th place. 4th place. At least I got 5 fingers. Okay, and this is a team of Caden McKinley and next, John Guerra. And they are also Cook Inlet Academy students, and they are the winners of $750 cash. Those are your sweatshirts, gentlemen. Again, please take your position back here, and that will move us up to 3rd place. And that's another team. Sheelan, I'm sorry, and Sheelan. Got it right. Okay, $900, guys. Good job. Now let's see. 3 minus 1, that would equal 2. We're up to 2nd place. And that also ratchets up the cash award. Our 2nd place winner tonight of $1,100 is none other than Lucy Machicki, saving lives on the bank. What a great job. Lucy, come on up. Congratulations. Great job, Lucy. And that is why the mayor was disqualified. Ever since Lucy was born, every activity and event that the mayor, the senator, the other mayor, and the city councilman went to, he took his kids. We were all his child care things. At any event, he'd pick them up afterwards, but we all loved those girls and we took care of them. I could not find an elected official that didn't know and love these kids. So we just eliminated the elected official this year, and Peter was disqualified. But great job, Dad. And I imagine you're pretty darn proud. Okay, that brings us to our winner of the 2024 Caring for the Kenai competition. This is the drama. This is the pause. This is the... Is what? Oh, we have another runner-up and then a winner. Oh, yeah. Who's our runner-up? Okay, Asher Franny. Asher Franny, number 226. Come on up, Asher. Fine job, sir. See, I can't count, even with the computers. Now that brings us up to our winner. I hope, because we would only have one left now. And I see a bunch of T-shirts. You know what? In 33 years, I've never picked the winner. Tonight, I picked the winner. These kids have also been nominated for our 8th Presidential Environmental Youth Award. They have already done things to prevent forest fires. They were a Girl Scout troop who, on their own, in their own initiative, decided that they would do something to make things better. The Bucket Tree Ladies, come on up here. The team of Caitlin Escalade, and $1,600 will be your award for that, and hopefully many more things as these things go nationally and we can start preventing forest fires. Once again, each one of you guys has done an excellent job, and you're all winners. I want to get some photos. Please, first through 4th place, stick around for some radio interviews. But now if you will all take some steps forward and get into a nice group and hear the cheering of your family, teachers, and friends, because they deserve it. Yay! I'll get my camera. I'll just stay put. Everybody else can be dismissed.
Oh, probably if I can get out of this seat. Without knocking.
I don't miss sitting there.
Yeah. I need to lose some weight next year.
Hold this into there.
If you would have looked that direction, you would have heard me say, and Aaron, when we're talking about Peter. How are you doing? I know. When are you going to start doing your side project? How are you? Enjoying life. I don't know about I'm working on my golf swing, so that next time I go out with him,
you don't hit my house.
No. I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Yeah. I don't know. Good seeing you. Hey, good seeing you. Good seeing you, sir. We're in very good shape. Think so? Yeah, because spread out we are.